tell me, I'll move it for you.
Okay, so from slideshow, there we go. Perfect, thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
Okay, thanks. So we don't have a lot of time together, unfortunately. We have 50 minutes. The format of this workshop is going to be a little different than the previous workshops you attended this morning. If we can go over to the next slide, Katya. So our discussion topic today is the impact of online teaching and learning on vocational education. So very big umbrella topic, if you will. It has an impact on multiple stakeholders. There's teachers, there's students, administrators, consultants. So for the purpose of this activity and the time frame that we have, we're going to focus on the impact that online teaching and learning has on vocational education at the center level. So we'll go over to the next screen. And what we decided to do is to divide you guys into breakout rooms and discuss what, some of the things you heard today or learned today in some of the earlier workshops, and relate them to the impact that online teaching and learning has on instructional design, the impact that it has had on student engagement and motivation, the impact that online teaching and learning has had on teacher well-being, and professional development. So not really knowing who my participants were today, I'm assuming we have some teachers and consultants, perhaps some administrators as well. You'll be randomly assigned to a breakout room. And again, it's to consolidate what you heard today in some of the workshops and to share your experiences so far with these 4 topics that you see on your screen, so that the workshop or so that the breakout rooms run smoothly. I just, if we can go over to the next slide, Katya. I put on the screen some discussion points. So in relation to your topic, they're just suggestions, but in relation to your topic, if you can kind of discuss what is going well right now in your center, what challenges continue to persist, and what resources or support systems are you using right now in your centers. So we have 20 minutes to discuss these 3 points, or you can take it elsewhere if you prefer. And then we'll come back, and I would like one representative from each group just to sort of summarize what was discussed in the group. And I'm noticing, I don't know everybody in the chat, but if people are more comfortable addressing in French, I think that'll be fine as well when we come back to our large rooms. So Katya, I think we can go ahead and put everyone in the breakout room, and we'll come back together in 20 minutes.
Okay, so we have 15 participants. So I'll divide that by 4. So I'll put 3 to 4 people per group.
Okay.
So just give me a few minutes because I have to turn on cameras and microphones. I'm going to press activate your microphones and your cameras. So once you're in the breakout room, at the top, you can turn on your camera and your microphone, and you will be able to exchange with the participants.
Okay.
So you can just hold on turning on your cameras and microphones until you're in the room, because it's affecting my screen somehow. Okay, so just go, it's a random, just going 4 at a time. Sonia, did you want each one to know which question to address?
Yeah, maybe we can go back to that slide. So I'll assign the topic to each breakout room.
Okay.
If we can go back 1 slide.
Second.
So if you're in breakout room number 1, you'll be discussing how online teaching and learning has had an impact on instructional design. or planning your course. If you're in breakout room number 2, you'll be discussing the impact on student engagement and motivation. If you are in breakout room number 3, you're discussing teacher well-being. And if you are in breakout room number 4, you are discussing how online teaching and learning has had an impact on professional development or the type of professional development you would like to see during these times.
Is everybody clear on the tasks? Because I'm going to send you to your respective rooms now. Everybody good? Have good discussions.
Okay. So can everyone hear me? Thumbs up if you hear me. Okay, great, thank you. And Kathy, I'm not sure where Kathy is right now. She can put the presentation back on. Okay. Okay. Kathy, is it possible to go back to the PowerPoint?
One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was still on. I'll put it on front for you in a minute.
Thank you. Okay, so in relation to these 4 elements that have been impacted by online teaching and learning, we'll go from group to group, and if one representative from each group could just maybe summarize what was discussed. And, you know, again, it's more about what's working well with each one of these elements and what are some of the challenges that are that still need to be worked out. And let's not forget our resources as well. We do have various resources in the form of consultants and the RECI consultants especially. So have we been using them and to what extent? So if we can start with the group that was in instructional design. Puis si vous êtes plus confortable de partager en français, j'imagine que ça va être correct pour tout le monde. Can we have someone from the instructional design group maybe let us know what was discussed? So the microphone and camera are at the top left of your screen. No?
Sonia, there might have been a bit of problems with that group because people were going in and out, so maybe that's why.
Okay, why don't we move over to student engagement and motivation? Is there anybody in that group that can just maybe summarize what was discussed?
Okay, I'll talk for my group. My name is Manon. I'm from Sherbrooke, 24 Juin. We spent like 5 minutes just to remember the subject, so we lost a nice 5 minutes. But basically, some things were said about the interest and motivation of the students that was there before the online teaching. Is this almost similar in online teaching? Those who weren't motivated are still not motivated, and we find that we're restricted to some platforms from our schools, and we can't go anywhere else. Like at my school, it's Teams, but I think Moodle is better, but it was chosen by my organization, and I have no choice to take Teams. And we don't have IT support either at our school. We just have to learn it by ourselves. So we're a bit limited in time, and sometimes with also the way you're gifted or how you want to be creative. So I think some want to be creative, but others just want to stay like they were and come back to the classrooms. So that probably doesn't help for the motivation of the students and the engagement. So
With
That's what we
respect to
talk.
IT support, do you mean true like technological problems or the kind of IT support that RECI might be able to help with? Which one?
Well, support and teaching to or just guide us where what to look on online. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can find, and they give us you know, our CP gives a lot of links to make some nice activities, but you know, you need time to do that, and you have to teach toward just that time too. So we have limited time, and I think what is asked of us is a big task and in a short time.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely true. Like, you know, we didn't hear from the instructional design group there. Well, I'm not sure if we will, but that's basically what happened overnight, right? Teachers are being asked to be instructional designers overnight. So it's a huge challenge. With respect to support, both French and English sector, yes, the RECI is there. And you know, they're pretty swamped too, but they have been a huge help. I know in particular for the, I can speak for the 9 English school boards, that they have been readily available to help out in that way. With the French school boards, I imagine there's a decent Crécy gang that goes from school to school. Am I correct in saying that?
Not really.
And does anybody else in the room perhaps have some ideas for student engagement and motivation within an online platform? Have you seen something going on in your school, or are you trying things that seem to be working? Does anybody want to jump in?
I'm not a teacher, I'm a consultant. I was in group 3, but if I can add something, for sure, I know that it's not a lot of people, well, the people I've been talking to so far, they had teams to do all this, to talk to their students and all that. We accepted, the school where I work, CFP des Moulins, accepted via like we're doing today. So you have des ateliers and things like that. It made it a little easier. And we have support at the school, a technician,
Okay.
which is right now en maladie, I think because of all of this. But it helps, and we're 2 consultants, and I'm not too bad, but the other one is even better with Teams and with VIA and all that and technology. So we can help the teachers. But I'm not going to jump in the group 3's team, but for sure it's not easy for the teachers.
Yeah, I'll say, you know, as a consultant as well here with Riverside, it's one of the main questions that I get from teachers, how to, you know, encourage them to participate more in the online platform. And there's sort of 2 avenues. There, you know, in some sense, they're saying that there's sort of a level of respect that maybe is lacking from the students, that they're noticing, that they don't know how to behave online, that if they pick up a phone call or start talking with somebody else that might be in the room, that they don't necessarily turn off the cameras. So there was that aspect of it, but then there was, you know, how do I, it's hard for a student to be sitting in front of a screen all day long. So how do I motivate that student who's been sitting there for hours? And one of the teachers, you know, was we were talking about the idea of coaching, seeing yourself as a coach. And although it might require some extra legwork, the teacher I was working with decided to meet with her students one-on-one at the beginning of the course to get to know them more personally. And then, you know, sort of took this coaching approach as opposed to a content provider. And she wrote back to me a couple of weeks later saying that approach itself seemed to be working better. She was a teacher who was also in charge of stages, and reminding her that when you are a stage teacher, you are a coach, really. So bring that to the online platform, and use those coaching strategies that she was using in person to the online platform. Again, meeting with a student one-on-one, each student in the class, definitely takes a lot of legwork, a lot of time, but she felt it was worth it to develop those relationships. The next element that we spoke about, or that was on our wheel there, was teacher well-being. So if somebody from the group of teacher well-being can just sort of summarize what was discussed in your group, that would be great. I'm seeing, go ahead, Nicole.
Well, I was with Michelle and I can't remember the name, but I was with two teachers. So, like I said, they had teams. One of the teachers is really in more practice. There's not that much theory to do, so you end up being in front of the students, and there's nothing to do. You can show them, but they're still not working when they're at home. I had some sectors where I worked, like secretariat and comptabilité. They went through that like nothing, because we gave laptops to the students. We gave them dictionaries, so they were working from the house. It was easier, but even though we lost some students and some teachers, even though it's easy for them to be behind a computer, it took a lot of adapting, making capsules and different things to keep the students very. So it's hard on the teachers, and now we're trying to work, and like I said, they had the two teachers that I was with in the group 3. They had teams. Teams is good, but at the beginning, teams you could see about 3 people. Then it went up to 9. But if you have 20 students, VIA's better. You can actually see them. But then again, like you said, some will put their camera up to the ceiling, some are not there, some get up. So you end up doing a lot of like the police more than anything else. Yeah. So yes, you have to change your ways of practice, I think, and that's what we're working on now with our teachers in case we have to go back.
And as far as the teachers, endurance, let's say, what are you noticing in your school? And this is, to everyone in the group, are your teachers hanging on by a thread? Or are they doing relatively well given all of the big change that this was for them? What is teacher morale like in your centers?
In ours, it's good. They're actually pretty good. Because even though you feel like you have to work hard, and I had teachers texting me on Saturdays and at 11 o'clock at night, you have to work hard, but they feel like they're in 2020 now. These are things that we have to learn, and it's sad that we had to learn it in the snap and very fast. But now that we are learning and that we know how it works, we feel a lot better. We feel like we jumped to 2020.
Yeah. I think, all of us teachers, consultants, administrators, students, we're doing pretty good considering how quickly we had to transition here. Mm-hmm. And I see in the chat we have Manon who's saying stressed out. Teachers are worried about going back onto a lockdown. Michelle, we are still doing présentiel, so we are reminded that we have to get ready to do both at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anybody else that has anything to add with respect to teacher well-being? Okay, so in some cases it is good, in some cases we have some concern. Then we have the final element that we were looking at was professional development. So the impact of this transition to the online platform on professional development. I was in that group with Pierre. Pierre, do you want to speak, or do you want to summarize? Okay, cool. Okay, I'll summarize. It was just me and Pierre, and we were talking about the PD being available. There were, in our case, or in the case for Pierre, it was available through Réci. And also talking a little bit about, touching upon 3D or virtual reality or augmented reality. Again, these were trainings that were coming from Réci, but didn't really get to gain any sort of momentum with that stuff just because COVID interrupted it. And then when you're talking about sharing masks and stuff like that, it doesn't really work right now. As well with these types of technology, it does require a certain level of bandwidth, let's say, for these things to run smoothly. So there were those obstacles as well. But for the most part, PD is available through the consultants and Réci consultants as well. Do you want to add anything, Pierre?
We had also a small presentation by Serge also for the Moodle. But the reality for us, I don't know for the rest, but for us, teaching online, it's not that difficult. It's true, it's stressful. I mean, I will not like to see another lockdown because the amount of theory in mechanical, it's not that much to be able to pass 2-3 months on online, but we could easily do 2 weeks. That is not a problem. As long as the students, they want to attend and they want to listen and they want to, all the shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's it.
Yeah. So definitely, for the consultants, a huge transition as well, right? It's not like the consultants knew these learning management systems any better than the teachers did. So, somebody was mentioning earlier, working on weekends, working at night. We're right there with the teachers and doing all of that stuff. We are training ourselves so that we can train the teachers. And everybody is working hard, but everybody is also doing a fabulous job. From what I can tell, not only, from this sort of presentation, but meeting teachers from various, from both the Anglophone and Francophone sectors on other platforms. Everybody transitioned quickly, surviving. Everybody feels like they're in survival mode, but we need to focus on all of the good, or how far we've come so far. We have Michel Nadeau. I personally made friends with one very supportive IT guy, and he is helping me a lot. Probably looks at me as his mother. That's great. Good idea to get close to those IT guys. They've been a huge support. They've been a support to everybody, administrators, teachers, consultants. For me too, they've always been there in a very, very timely fashion. Nicole agrees with that. Is there anybody else that wants to add anything?
Yeah,
again,
Sonia?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. So I think for me, in terms of professional development, like with online things, I find that most professional development isn't particularly innovative in the sense that, it's a lot of training on those LMSs. There's a lot of Moodle and team stuff, which, now we've been online for over 6 months. I feel like there should be more innovation in terms of what can be done online. It's very repetitious. So that for me, I think would be very interesting to see what could be offered sort of above and beyond, because in vocational, we're often thinking, well, like in auto mech, not a lot of it is in theory, but there are those programs that are very theory heavy. I'm in secretarial and accounting when I'm teaching, so to only have Moodle and Teams, it can get very, very boring and static. And I think it goes back to the student engagement thing. So if there could be sort of more interesting things on offer, for me personally, I think this would make professional development much more interesting.
Yeah, you're bringing up a very good point, Claudia. It's the consultants, you know, on the Anglophone sector, we do manage to get together, or very recently are managing to get together across the school boards to discuss this exactly what you're talking about. We've addressed the technical piece for the most part, and so now we really need to focus on pedagogy. Technopedagogy is what now we need to focus on. And there are definitely strategies, or there are additional, I want to say apps, for lack of a better term, that we can start training teachers on to incorporate into their synchronous and asynchronous teaching that would make things a little more interesting. So you're absolutely right again, Claudia. We've covered the tech part. We've decided what learning management system we're going to use. We're training teachers on how to use the features in those learning management systems. Now we have to get back to pedagogy and yeah, bring it up a notch. You're absolutely right. Your consultants, that's the direction they are right now going in. We just started talking about that. So it's 1:50. Our session has come to an end, and again, it was more about consolidating the information we learned this morning, and to discuss our experiences and find some solutions to common problems. For the most part, you know, again, we were sort of in survival mode, but for the most part, everybody was doing a very good job for the little amount of time they had to transition. So I hope you got a little bit of a tidbit or a gem out of this, and feel better about sharing some of your experiences with people from other centers. I don't know if anybody has any final questions before we part. A lot of stuff in the chat here. Practice online, mind you, in the spring. I didn't do it with coworkers. I think there's a discussion there I'm not seeing. Okay, Katya is summarizing the 4 elements that we were talking about. Yeah, I think we're good. So I think we'll end it here, everyone. The next session is starting at 2 p.m. Katya may have jumped out already because I think she's also moderating another session. So I thank you very much for coming. It was nice meeting some of you and discussing some of these issues. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Thank you.